What is going on, everyone? Munz here with another episode of the JuiceBox presented by Lock City. But before we dive in, I just want to remind you guys again of the sale we are currently running. It's 70% off your first 3 months of Lock City, which is applicable to both our weekly and monthly subscription packages. All you have to do is use code SPRINGFEVER at checkout to apply the discount and start getting our daily plays. As per usual, we have a UFC episode here with me and Wighty. Wighty, my brother, how you doing today?
Absolutely great. We have a wonderful card this weekend. Excited after I think 3 or 4 weeks of some pretty dud ones. So excited to get into this one and excited to see what you have. I need my get back from last week.
Yeah, we'll see if you can get that. All right, let's dive into what should be honestly a banger of an event in UFC 313. So to start us off on the main card, what do we got? Bobby Green and Mauricio Ruffy. So Bobby Green's coming into this one with a record of 32-16-1 with one no contest. He is 32-5. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights, and he's coming off a submission loss to Paddy the Baddy. And he also faces another tough battle in Mauricio Ruffy. Now, Mauricio Ruffy's coming into this one with a record of 11-1-0. He's on an impressive 6-fight win streak with currently 10 of his 11 wins coming from KO or TKO, and the other one by decision. How do you feel about this one, bro?
I think this one, first of all, I think it'll be a banger of a fight to start off the card. I think it's probably going to be pretty exciting. Bobby Green always puts on exciting fights, and I think we can expect the same thing out of Mauricio Ruffy or Ruffy, however you say it. I think this one's being used kind of as a stepping stone for Ruffy. And I think we see him step up to the challenge and handle business on this one. Bobby Green likes to keep his hands low. I don't think his style of fighting necessarily transitions well into older age. He's 38 years old. So he's getting up there. I think Ruffy pretty much has every significant advantage in this fight, and I don't really see a way that Bobby Green wins this one unless he just catches him early in the first round somehow. But I think we're looking at good action on Ruffy by KO here. I don't think you get a ton of value on the money line, but definitely a safe parlay piece on the money line. I think this is going to be a pretty big win for Mauricio here.
Yeah, I mean, you personally know my rule when it comes to Brazilians, bro. So from the start, you knew I was going to go with Mauricio on this one. Like you said, Bobby Green's 38 years old. Mauricio's, I think, 27, 28. So, like, that's a 10-year difference. Yep. Yeah, 10-year difference. Like you said, he has the advantage, pretty decent reach advantage. The height advantage isn't anything crazy, but definitely something that's going to play a factor. And the guy's on a 6-fight win streak. Like you said, it's a stepping stone for Mauricio. I agree with that. And I think this is another way for the UFC to kind of get their, Bobby Green is kind of considered a fan favorite, but it's another way to get their fan favorites to take a more peaceful exit of the UFC. Just kind of showing that they're just not up to the challenge anymore. So yeah, I'm riding with Mauricio on this one as well.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool. All right, next up we have Amanda Lemos and I don't know how to say her name. Yasmin Lucindo. I don't know.
That's exactly right.
Perfect. All right. So Amanda Lemos is coming into this one with a record of 14-4-1. She's 8-4 in the UFC, 3-2 in her last 5 fights, and she's also coming into this one off a submission loss in her last fight. Yasmin Lucindo is coming into this one with a record of 17-5-0, being 4-1 in the UFC and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. She is on a 4-fight win streak. Now, this one we got Brazilian versus Brazilian.
Yeah, this one's going to be tough for you.
Well, bro, when it comes down to that, we just pick the Brazilian that's better. So for me, I see Yasmin as the better one here.
I agree with you on that. This is the first fight on the whole card, like between prelims and main card, that made me actually stop and think for a while on who was going to win it. There's a couple more to come, but this was the first one that made me stop and think here. I think Yasmin Lucindo is the better grappler, but I would probably give Lemos the advantage on the feet. I think ultimately Lucindo knows her path to victory is probably going to be on the mat, and she might not overly engage with Lemos's standing, but it'll be interesting to see the way this fight plays out. I think Lucindo, she's only 23, and she's 15 years younger, I think, than Lemos, 14 years younger. So I think she could probably outwork her and outpace her for 3 rounds and steal a decision here, especially if she can get her down. So this is, I would say, probably my least confident money line pick on the main card, but I am sticking with Lucindo on this one.
I'd have to agree. I'd give Amanda the edge when it comes to being on the feet, but she also has a 14-year age difference on Yasmin.
Yep.
Like 37 and 23.
She's lost 2 of her last 3.
Lost 2 of her last 3. Yasmin's on an impressive 4-fight win streak. Younger, hungrier. I'm comfortable taking Yasmin on money line on this one if I had to, but I do think she's going to come out with the victory as well.
Yeah, I think she's trending the right direction. I'd be surprised if she lost, but still could go either way.
Everything is pretty even when you look at the tail of the tape, just their age.
Yep, significant.
Significant, yeah, which I think will play a big factor. She might be old and get tired. I mean, I know 37 isn't old, but in fight years, it adds up, right?
Yep, especially strawweight.
This is an interesting one that I'm curious to see who you're picking in this. Our next fight is Jalen Turner and Ignacio Bahamondes. So Jalen Turner's coming into this one with a record of 14-8-0. He is 7-5 in the UFC, and he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights, coming off a TKO loss to Renato Carneiro. Ignacio's coming into this one with a record of 16-5-0. He's 5-2 in the UFC. He's 4-1 in his last 5 fights. And he's on a 4-1 and on a 4-fight win streak, I believe.
4-1, 2-fight win streak.
2-fight win streak. In the middle. Sorry. This is another one that's virtually even. If you look at the tail of the tape, Turner has a slight reach advantage, and he's 2 years older than Ignacio. Other than that, they scale up pretty evenly here. I think it's going to be a banger of a fight in the light heavyweight division to warm us up for the title fight later on in the evening.
Yeah, this is going to be great. They are 2 of the tallest, I would say, lightweights in this division. They're both 6'3", which is super tall for lightweight. Yeah. I think this, like you said, is another really tough one. Probably the first one on the card that we're split on because I like Jalen Turner here, but I think a lot of things need to go right for him in order for him to win this fight. Now, like you said, he's 1-3 in his last 4. His last fight was nearly a year ago. He had control of it against Manny Moicano, but he ended up getting knocked out in round 2, so that doesn't look good. He does have a reach advantage, but where it's going to get tough for him here is going to be with the kicks from Bahamondes. Yeah. I think Turner could probably get caught off guard here pretty easily. But he did go the distance with Dan Hooker. He went the distance with Gamrot in close fights. And prior to that, he was on like a 7-fight finish streak. And I think the blemishes on his record, those losses to Dan Hooker and Gamrot, were to better fighters than Bahamondes. So it really just depends if he could be durable in there. I didn't realize he was 29. I thought he was in his early 30s. So that was a little bit of a shock to me and kind of swung me a little bit more toward him. But if you can avoid getting caught by like a head kick or just getting beat up on kicks throughout the fight, I think Jalen Turner could probably win this fight. But I'd probably recommend betting this one pretty lightly, but I am going to side Jalen Turner money line on this.
Yeah, I mean, I truly think it could go either way. I think it can go either way. And the books are kind of giving that as well. The last time I checked, they had Ignacio as a -132 favorite, which is not anything crazy.
Nope.
It's definitely Ignacio's biggest test so far and biggest name that he's fought in this promotion. Like you said, Jalen, on the other hand, had that nasty finish streak before he started losing fights recently. And he's fought his fair share of common names in the promotion. You know, Gamrot, Dan Hooker recently. He had that KO win over Bobby Green and then ended up falling short by getting TKO'd in his last by Renato.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a big fight for Turner. Probably has more pressure on him than the rest, as another loss could question his status in the UFC, in my opinion. I think he needs the win to stay in the promotion, but I don't think he's going to get it. I think Ignacio is going to pass this test that they're giving him in Jalen Turner. I think,
Yeah, this is one of the more split ones on the card. Like public consensus is 60% for Bahamondes, so 60-40, and obviously 40% Turner. So
He's
public's
a
pretty split on it. I think a lot of
Rahamaios is a
cappers are
KO
pretty
artist,
split.
man.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's gonna
it's
be
gonna be
tough.
quite the fight.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very, very tough for Jalen. This is a very, very big test, and I don't know if he doesn't win, they might give him one more shot, but I think it's Ignacio time. That's what I'm calling for. Nacho Libre style.
Yeah, this is like one of 4 fights on the main card that has fight of the night potential. So we'll see how it plays out.
Every single fight has fight of the night potential.
Except the ladies, but
yeah, you never know, man. They could piece each other up. You never know. All right.
We'll see.
Next up, we got the co-main event: Justin Gaethje, fan favorite, and Rafael Fiziev. I'll be completely honest with you guys. This is extremely tough for me to decide. I'm still very, very undecided on it. Even though Rafael is coming in last minute, I don't know. So anyway, let's get into it. Justin Gaethje's coming into this one with a record of 25-5-0. He's 7-5 in the UFC and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. But he's coming off that nasty KO loss to Max Holloway, and honestly, it looked pretty damn scary seeing his whole entire body shaking, convulsed there. It looked like he was going into a seizure. Rafael Fiziev is coming into this one with a record of 12-3-0. He's 6-3 in the UFC and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's coming into this one off I believe, 2-fight losing streak, with one of them being to Justin Gaethje, the other one being his knee injury to Gamrot, I believe it was, which kept him out since 2023. This is the rematch fight. I don't see it as fair to give Rafael this rematch with it being such short notice to replace Dan Hooker, but I don't know. Their last fight was very close. It was very close. Justin won by decision. I was just looking at the stats of it today. It was a very close fight. It could have went either way if Justin didn't get that takedown, to be quite honest with you. So, I don't know. I'm very undecided, but personally, I'm leaning towards Rafael. How about you?
Interesting. I think I'm probably going to go Gaethje on this one. But this is the 3rd fight in a row that I think has a lot of question marks on it and could definitely go either way. It depends on what ailment affects which fighter more, if it's the knee injury and the layoff for Fiziev, or if it's the brain-bashing CTE from getting knocked out by Holloway for Gaethje there. So I think it's obviously going to be a great fight to watch, but the abundance of unknowns makes it pretty tricky to bet on. I'm going to go Gaethje just because I think he probably had CTE to begin with, and I don't think he's going to lose much of his chin since he's been in pretty bloody fights throughout his entire career. Like, we don't know how he's going to react to getting hit in the head now that he was unfortunately convulsing there, but I don't know. The combination of the knee injury, the layoff, and then taking the fight on short notice is tough for anybody. He knows Gaethje on the rematch, Fiziev, but I think it's going to be pretty significant. So I'm going to go Gaethje on the money line with this one.
What's selling me the most on Rafael is just seeing how excited the guy was when he got the call, and then just seeing him absolutely dial in and lock into the training for a short camp. But I don't know. They fought before.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
He should be pretty familiar with Justin's style. I can't really see Justin have changed up his style that much, especially since his last fight. But like you said, the biggest thing is seeing how Justin's going to react when he gets punched in the face after that knockout from Max Holloway. So,
yeah, he could get dropped right away, or he could be able to roll with the punches.
I think he'll be able to roll with the punches. You just might be more cautious on taking them now, which either might be good for him or might turn out very bad. So, I don't know. I'm still undecided. I'm leaning towards Rafael, mainly because he's a Muslim brother of mine as well. But I don't know. I'm very undecided on that one.
Alrighty, so 2 split and 2 the same so far. That's awesome. I thought my entire week was going to rely on whether or not Jalen Turner could win, and that we'd have the other 4 the same. So this is a little bit of a relief.
Hey man, anything can change. Anything can change. We don't have the call of the card out yet, so my mind can change. I might switch over to Justin. I gotta watch a couple more embeddeds first.
It's fair.
All right, time for the main event. We got Shama Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. So, I mean, Alex Pereira really needs no introduction. This guy has been an absolute star in the UFC, taken so many fights in the past few years. He's coming into this one with a record of 12-2-0. He's 9-1 in the UFC, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, and all 5 were against very, very big and well-known names in the UFC. Magomed is coming into this one with a record of 21-1 with 1 no contest. He's 11-1 with 1 no contest in the UFC, and his last 5 fights are 3-1 with the 1 no contest. Honestly, another tough one here.
A very tough one. I'm curious to see where you're going to be on this one. Obviously, we've both been waiting a while for this fight, and our main event is going to be incredible either way. But I don't know. I think Ankalaev is obviously a creative striker. I think he's probably going to be able to time some pretty effective takedowns. I think some of my optimism is that we saw Roundtree strike fairly well against Pereira, and Ankalaev is, I would say, more intimidating of a striker than Roundtree, and probably the next most intimidating in the division after Pereira. So because of the takedown edge and similarities in striking, I would say Pereira is a better striker, but I'm actually going to give this one to Ankalaev. I obviously could see Pereira winning, but I think Ankalaev was more focused coming into the fight, training in Dagestan while Pereira was at Drake concerts in Australia, Sydney, wherever he was, and traveling the world for a while. So it seemed like he had a short camp. I don't know how long his camp was. I didn't look into it, and I don't want to question his focus, but I definitely see a path for victory for Ankalaev here with either maybe a late KO finish or more likely probably a decision.
So I'll just mention one comparison with Pereira here. The guy, people are going to call me crazy for this, but his skill at least reminds me of John Jones. John Jones was getting coked, drunk a night before his fights and still piecing people up. So for a fighter who has that much skill like John Jones or Alex Pereira, who I'm talking about right now, I don't know. I feel like the guy has shown the world that, okay, I can enjoy my life while still somewhat training on the side and still get ready and still be ready for a fight. And now,
Fair.
In this kind of sense, when you're going up against someone like Magomed, who went to Dagestan to travel and who is a very disciplined individual, yeah, I don't think that taking a somewhat lighter camp and being at Drake concerts and whatever was a good idea for him. Pereira has the advantage in terms of height and reach. Pretty decent.
That he
advantage.
does.
I think he had like a 10 centimeter. Sorry to my American friends. I think he had like a 10 centimeter reach advantage on Magomed, which.
Yep, 5 inches. It says 12 centimeters.
So, oh damn. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that could play a factor. I don't think it will. I think we see Magomed come in here and show the world what he's made of. He might not be fasting, but it is Ramadan time. God is definitely in his corner more than any shamanic ritual that Alex Pereira will pull. I'm sitting with Magomed on this one, man. If you want to go spiritualities and this guy's doing this, doing that, let's talk about Ramadan and Magomed being close with God. I got Magomed.
Yep, I like it. I like Magomed. I think he's going to have to counter Pereira. Pereira with that reach advantage, that's going to be scary. I didn't realize it was 5 inches, but
yeah, that's definitely something to consider. But if he takes him down,
gonna have to. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, if he takes him down, I think it's over for Pereira.
Yep, exact same thing. I think he's got to time takedowns and throw counters.
I'd have to agree with you, brother. Okay, anything else you want to mention on this, or?
Nope, I don't think so. Going to be an absolute banger on the card. For those of you in our premium tier, look out for our best bets and our call the card cheat sheet as well. And if we're feeling nice, we might drop call the card on Friday.
We're always feeling nice on Fridays, man. We always are. But yes, in the next couple of days, our premium members, stay tuned for Call the Card and Best Bets. We love to put out Best Bets for pay-per-view events. Not so much fight nights because, as you've seen the past 2 weeks, it's been pretty shitty cards. I mean, yeah, pretty shitty cards. So I'm very much looking forward to this pay-per-view event. Should be an absolute banger. But before we leave off here, I just want to remind you guys one last time, use code SPRINGFEVER at checkout at wap.com/LockCity. Save 70% off your first 3 months of Lock City, which is applicable to both our weekly and monthly subscription packages. This deal is only going to last until May once the MLB season starts to get underway. So if you haven't yet, utilize this sale and get on it. And hopefully we will see you guys in the Discord. Take care and good luck with your bets.